What did you see the difference was in the second half? Was it an execution thing, an effort thing, adjustment thing?
We didn't make a shot. Derek helps us immensely, but because this is his, whatever it is, 8th or 9th game, something like that, he just doesn't know sometimes. And then I think everybody else gets a little frustrated because he's where they're supposed to be, and we don't run our slides. And then we can't and won't pass the ball. We got maybe 2 guys who can drive it, straight line drive it, and the rest of our guys can't. But that's okay. If you move the ball, you get people closing out, too high, too low. You can still drive it, but you got to move the ball and you got to make them move. We just don't. We don't move the ball. We didn't rebound it. We've had bad games before shooting the ball, but we've always rebounded it. We didn't rebound it at either end. I probably shouldn't say, but the reality is they're more talented than we are, and so we have to do things right. And we didn't do things right. And when you aren't as talented as other people and you don't do things right, it's not going to be a good outcome for you. We've always been fine because we have done things right.
Coach, you experimented with different defenses in the past. One thing, 1-3-1 you used in the past. Just brought them up at different times. I mean, with what you've had to do this year, has it gone beyond what you've ever had to do before as far as experimenting with different defensive looks and strategies?
Yeah. But that's probably wrong, Justin. It's probably looking back on it, it's probably giving them a crutch. We just don't guard. We don't play with a lot of intensity. It doesn't seem to bother us. I used to have a rule that if you got beat and you weren't pissed off, you went and ran for the rest of practice, or if it was a game, you didn't play anymore. I'm getting old, I guess.
It is an awful lot to overcome, though, to have the Defensive Player of the Year last year, and he's gone. Yeah, I think he might have had the Defensive Player of the Year this year, and he's gone. I mean, it's...
It didn't help.
It's a lot to overcome.
Yeah, it didn't help, and it didn't help not having Beetle. And we haven't had Beetle really healthy all year. But you know what, Bob? It's when my coach told me to pass the ball, I passed the ball. If he told me to stay in front of somebody, I mean, I wasn't the swiftest guy, but I mean, I generally found a way to stay in front of him because I wanted to play.
Texas with 8 dunks in the second half. Is that one of the more troubling things about this game, just the ease that they were able to attack the rim?
Well, it's embarrassing. I mean, I was embarrassed. I'm not sure our guys were embarrassed, but I was embarrassed.
Anything else?
Yeah, Paul, I was just listening to your answer to Justin about the defenses and how you said it gave him a crutch. Yeah, I just
Said it
going-
may have.
May have, okay. But going back to the beginning of the year, you said that you kind of backed off a little bit of the defense, and that might have set a tone early, and didn't maybe push them as hard as you want. Is something small like that branched out? Or am I putting not two and two together here and connecting?
Well, what we had planned on doing, we couldn't do because we didn't have SAGs. You can't open the floor up the way we have opened the floor up when we had SAGs. And before that, we had Elijah. So we had people back there. And then SAGs is gone. So that's, I mean, if you go back to the Pitt game, you know, that's the way we played before. And then SAGs hasn't played since. And he really didn't play before that, really. That was like his one game. And then we have 3 freshman guards and a junior college guy and Chase. Beetle was out. Beatles had 3 high ankle sprains, a sublux shoulder, tore ligaments in his shooting hand. I mean, we really haven't had Beetle. So you're talking about a whole bunch of guys that have never been here before. And so you kind of count on the front line who has been here. And then when you lose Sags, and then Derek comes in, you know, kind of midstream, and now you got East and West and Lamont, and I think it's frustrating for them sometimes because they don't get the ball where they used to get the ball and get the ball when they're open sometimes, and it's a lack of understanding. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is we had a whole lot of things to do with our perimeter that we probably try to do. You know, you go offense and you go against a man, you go against a switching man, you go against a sagging man. I mean, there's a lot of things to cover, and that doesn't count zone and presses and half-court traps and different kind of zones, be it a 1-2-2, a 3-2, a 2-3, a 1-3-1. And if you don't cover it, then it's your fault when you lose, when somebody throws it at you and your guys have no idea. So what I'm trying to say, I guess, is we had a whole lot to teach 3 freshmen and a junior college guy. And
Practice time toward that. You needed to.
well, you put the practice time trying to do it a little bit of everything. But I mean, we've gone 3 hours a day. I mean, I cut it back lately, but I mean, we've gone 3 hours and you don't feel like you got enough done.
When it's like that, do you try to do 1 or 2 things per practice, focus on those, or is it there's so many you feel like you've got to hit a lot of them each day?
Let me give you an idea just like what we're up against. So Kansas loses 2 bigs. The guy who's starting now was a McDonald's All-American, and he's backed up by a McDonald's All-American. They're playing young guys in a perimeter, but they're McDonald's All-Americans, or they were the leading scorer at another Power 5 school. That's not what we got. You know, I mean, you can get by to a degree on talent. I mean, we don't have that. And honest to God's truth, we've never had that here. So
At some point later this year, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to make some evaluations, make some decisions moving forward. Does it become more difficult evaluating these guys in the sense that this season, kind of like you said, it just wasn't what you had wanted in the sense that, you know, Sagaball didn't play, Beto hasn't been healthy, and so does that make evaluations tougher on, you know, on what you have moving forward?
I don't think so.
Still have practices, you still have.
You have guys who follow the game plan and guys who don't follow the game plan. You have guys who really compete and guys who don't compete. You have guys who make excuses and guys who try harder. I mean, I think that's for whatever reason, it just seems like we live in a society full of excuses, and I'm not trying to give you an excuse. It's my fault. I'll do my best to fix it. But it's, how many guys have we had like Sags? That's a loss. I mean, that's a fact. It's a loss. We haven't had many guys shoot it like Beetle. First day of practice, he tears ligaments in his shooting hand. If you remember, he had it all taped up and had that thing on it, and I mean, you can't shoot like that. And it's never really healed.
Anything else?
Coach, what happens now moving forward?
Well, we try to win some games. We're not going to quit.
About with a week off between games, that seems like a lot of time coming off of a loss like this. You good, bad, or indifferent on having that much time after a loss like this before your next game?
Well, it's probably better than losing at Texas Tech and getting back at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's probably better than that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what to do. You know, we can bring them in and get shots and that kind of thing, but reality is if they really cared, when you shoot whatever we shot, 3 for 16 from 3, you ought to care enough to come in on your own, I think. You know, for years and years and years, this was it, you know, and you had phys ed here, and then and until noon, and then you had women's volleyball and women's basketball and men's basketball and wrestling and gymnastics, and this was the recreation center before they built the rec over there. So, I mean, you had to be pretty creative to go find a place to work on your game. Now we have the best place in America. There's no excuse. I shouldn't have to make them come in and shoot. They should want to do that on their own. You know, you 2 for 6, 1 for 5, 6 for 15, 1 for 3, 0 for 3, 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 3 for 5, 1 for 6. You probably ought to want to come in.